Hi everyone. So some people ask me why I did that kind of effect, and okay, I'm doing this tutorial for you. Please excuse the quality of the sound. I'm recording that in the hotel room on my laptop. It's not the best, but it's okay. Just okay. I hope you will enjoy this tutorial. Okay, so here we are in Blender 3.1.2, which is the last stable version for now. On the version 3.1 to work just fine. Okay, hello. So let's delete everything. First thing first. Um, I will create, I will rename this collection, name it sources. And in this library, I will put, I will just add a couple of geometry. It can be whatever you want. So for now, we'll just go simple, go for the monkey head, which is nice. Let's face it. Let's move it somewhere. And I will add, I don't know, maybe whatever it is, UV sphere. Then I will take in here. Perfect. Now in a new collection, that would call that the anime. I will add whatever we want, and we'll add just a plane, and that jumped into the geometry nodes. Here we are. Let's create a new geometry node. Let's call this one generate lines. Should be fine. So in this one, I will have to add the two objects I want to use for this noodle morph, whatever. Let's rename also the plane. Let's call that noodles. That would be cute. So I will have to add these two geometry. To do so, let's go there in the group properties. Let's move this one, change this one to an object. Let's call that, I don't know, source 1. Okay, and let's add the second one that will be called source 2. For sure, right now we cannot see anything. If I go there, object info, for sure I didn't put anything inside, so let's add the sphere and the number 1 and the season and number 2. Here we are. If I hide the sources collection, okay, we can see that so the object, the geometry itself is going to the center. It's because I use the original position and not the relative, so it will be better with a relative position. And if I put the same on the source too, I will have the monkey head, which, perfect. Okay. In here, I will have to scatter some points on that, so for that we have a node called distribute point on faces. If I see that, okay, we have a few points. We will need the same, roughly the same amount of point on each geometry. To do so, I have a little trick for you. I think that's a good one. Okay, so in here we have a density. Clearly, the number of points is proportional to the surface, the area of the geometry and the density. So clearly you can say number of points is equal to density by the area. If I want to fix the number of points, it's very easy. I just have to divide the density, the number of points. Yeah, okay, it's clear in my mind. I will have to divide the number of points I want by the area that will give me the density. To do so, let's find the area. So for that, we have a node, face area. This will give, if we go and add a viewer on that, on this geometry, we can see that each face has its own density. I don't want to see that on the. I need the sum of it. So for that, there is a node too. On the attribute, we have the attribute statistic. Geometry is this one. Sorry. The area is the attribute I want to see. I don't want that on point, but on faces, and that's a float. And if I go for the sum, I would get the same number in here, which is the area of the geometry itself. Okay, so let's now add one more attribute in here. That would be a float. Let's call that number of points. Okay, let's fix that to 20 for now. So I say I would take this value. Let's give some room in there. I don't need that anymore. Okay, I would get this value, and this I will divide by the sum of all those areas, and I will put that in density, and I will get 24 points for 20. It's not that bad. Let's reorganize that a little bit, and maybe let's group all of this. So Control G. Let's go back, and I have this node that gives exactly the amount of points I want. I will duplicate that, and here if I put this one on the source too and put the numpty, if I go see that one, I have 22 points. This one was 24. It's perfect. In here you can see if I go for 50 points, I will get 58 points, and in here 52 points. It's okay. It's fair enough. Not a problem. That will work just fine. So okay, if I go on this geometry, I have a lot of points. That's perfect. What I'm going to do now is scatter the lines on that. So instance on point, on those points, and I will add just simple curve lines. So curve primitive, curve line. I go there, instances. No need to take care of the size, direction, or whatever. We'll change that anyway. After that, I will have to set the position of the last point of each curve. For that, I will have first to realize the instances. So realize geometry. In here, I already have this. So if you check in here, we can see that we don't have any points or whatever. We just have the instances. If we go there, we have all the control points and the splines. That's perfect. Okay, so now if I had set position on this one, we can see that if I put an offset up, I move everything, and that's not what I want. I would just want to move the last point of each spline. So for that, there is a node too. If we go on the curve, we have endpoint selection. If I go there, and I've moved this in here, yeah, I still have everything, but if I do that, we can see that the start position, start size at 0, and the end size at 1, that would give me only the last point of each geometry. I don't want to have said that, I just want to put on those points. For that, I will need in here to go attribute, I think capture attribute would be the best thing. Nope. Let's go on the transfer attribute. In here, my source is this one. The attribute I want is the position. For sure, position is a vector. And I don't want the nearest face, but the index. And if I'm right, that should work just fine. Yes. In here, let's put back the source and final destination, and we can see it's going. The lines are going from the points I have scattered on the sphere to the points I have scattered on the monkey head. And here I can increase or reduce the number of points. I think that's not bad. Let's go on 30 lines for now. And last thing I want to do in here is that in here, okay, each line, sorry, has only 2 points, a starting point and a final point. So that means I cannot deform it or whatever. So what we can do is just I forgot the name. in the curve we have resample the curve in here. We can keep that on account, and let's duplicate that in here. We'll add a new attribute on that, and let's call that count. Well, why not? And in here we can see that now each line, so come in here, we have 41 lines, with 410 control point, means we have 10 points per line. That's exactly what I want. So that's the first part of it. Let's go for the second part. So for the second part, what I'm going to do, okay, I can put everything I want to do in the same geometry node, but yeah, you will see. I think it's better to make several geometry nodes that we can readjust, rearrange, modify, or whatever. So let's add a new geometry node. This one, let's call that Distor lines. Let's say 1, because we can make many different ones. Let's go on something very simple on that one. Just moving along the z-axis, just as an example. We can do whatever we want, but okay, maybe later on I will show you other I found interesting, but let's go on the simple one first. For that, I will need a set position, and I will just add some offset. Right. Okay, if I go there, we can see that I move everything there. I see on the z-axis I want to do. Okay, in here we can see we can move up and down. The problem is that I want the starting point to start exactly as its original position, and the endpoint same. For that, there is a very simple way. We can go on the curve. We have the curve, the spline parameter. We have the factor. Factor is going from 0 to 1 all along the curve. So what I can do, let's start with something very, very simple. I will take the factor, add the float curve. The float curve on 0, and the beginning of the line, I want 0, and at the end of the line, so position 1, I want 0. And in the middle, let's put some value, whatever, it's not a problem. Then let's combine on the Z, and let's add that. We can see now we make our curve. Maybe we can multiply that. And yeah, in here I can move up, down, which is kind of boring, let's say. Okay, so let's add something a little more fun. This value, I will not multiply just by a simple value. I will go in here. I will do a map range node. I will go from 0 to 1, and I will go 0 is the original value. I will keep 0, and for the maximum value, so the end point, I will go for 720, which I will convert to radians, and that I will just add this in a sine function, and I will put that in here. And yeah, let's do it up and down. Okay, maybe I should increase a little bit the number of points. Let's go for 100, and we have something a little more smooth. Yeah, that's one of the different distortion we can put. I think for now I will just keep this one, and later on in this tutorial we'll give you more distortion. I find it interesting. Okay, so now that we have our lines, we have deformed them, even in the let's maybe add a multiply node to make it more interesting. We can go up, down, whatever. Never mind. Let's first animate that. So for that, I will add again a new geometry node. which I will call trim, because the only purpose of this geometry node will be to trim the curve. So yeah, to do so, we'll use a trim curve. Really boring, this one. It's very simple, and I'll just keep the start and the end value exactly as it is. Why did I do that? I can animate directly with the time frame node, whatever. It's good, but the point is that if you want to change that, you have to go inside the geometry node again, and yeah, it's very. I think it's way simpler to use only these values that we can animate, and if we have several different curves, we can put different value. So yeah, I prefer to get it outside the geometry node. So in here we can see we can move this. That's working fine. Just yeah, let's remind me. We can see in here we have a error message that says that the input geometry as an unsupported type mesh, because this is expecting a curve, a line curve or whatever curve. Actually, after this node, we have only curves. I don't know if in here we have something similar. No, because we don't use any curve function. But yeah, okay, on this one, we are using the curve function, and we get this error because for Blender, the object we have in here is keep this original type, which was a simple plane, so that was clearly just a geometry, a mesh. But okay, the error is there because it doesn't consider what we did earlier on the modifier stack. But okay, it's working just fine. It's a little bug. I don't know if it needs to be corrected or not, but it's okay. I think we have what we need. So now from that, it's okay. We have beautiful lines, but they are only lines. If I want to see how it looks like, it won't give anything nice on the rendering because they are just lines that we cannot see. Oh, I have no camera. Let's add maybe a camera view, align view. Active camera to view. Let's add light. Let's go for sunlight. That would be just nice. Okay. And if I go for a render, we can see that, okay, we don't see those lines because they are just curved. They have no geometry. They are nothing for Blender. They're just, yeah, something we can use in the viewport, but nothing else. So for that, let's add again a new geometry node. That would be, I don't know, the meshing of the curves. And yeah, so to do so, we will need a couple of nodes that I don't find anymore. Let's go for a search. It will be curve to mesh. Curve to mesh. Here we go. In here, we can add maybe for the profile. I think the better would be just a curve cycle. And we have this and this black. Awful, 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 for sure. Again, the same mistake about the curve, that's okay. So, to manage that, let's add first set radius, curve radius. We put that in here, we can see that from that we can increase or decrease the size of the mesh, the radius of the mesh. And to make it something very nice, let's go on the curve parameter. Let's put the factor. We can see that at 0 it starts from 0 and at the end it's 1, which is way too much, and I don't like that. I want to be very thin at the two endpoints and thick in the middle, thicker actually. Let's go for float curve that I put in here. So I say at the end and the beginning should be 0, and let's increase the size in the middle. And maybe what could be nice is to add in here multiply multiply. Let's put this one in here and go there, and that's going to be the radius. And then again from here, so procedurals, perfect. I can make it bigger or smaller. Okay, I think it ain't so bad. What else should we do? Yeah, in here, as we are using the geometry node, we cannot change in the shading panel. We cannot put any material on that. We cannot change if I change the color or whatever. It's not working at all. I cannot do anything. So what can be done? Let's call that material, I don't know, noodles. In here, the geometry node, I can add a set material. Let's put that here, and to make it more procedural as possible, let's go for the group input and up. We put that. So here I can select the material I want, and I will go for the noodles. I know it's red. I put just a very simple shader, but I can do better. Let's see on the camera, and here I can put some subsurface. I can even, if I want, put some emission on it, or even better, I can, because in EV will not work so well, but in Cycle would be perfect to use in the shader an emission shader. We put in here, let's remove that, and the color I don't want, let's go on the light blue, let's put it very high, and yeah, you can see the reflection on it, on the source geometry, and yeah, I think that's it. We have the main part of it, so yeah, let's make just a very quick animation from that. Let's go in here. So let's go on the frame 20. I want for the trimming, I should have named that, it's okay. The trimming, I start from 0, 0. In here, the endpoint is 0 in here. Let's go maybe on frame 100 or so. We go for 1, right? And let's go maybe on frame 60. Same in here, and let's go on 140. Put 1 and up. If I play this, we can see that, yeah, everything is animating quite well. I think that's good. Yeah. So for the noodle part, that's it. I don't have anything else to say. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, so now the noodle animation is working well. It's exactly what I wanted, but what I need is to start with only this geometry, not this one, and as soon as I move this one, so the monkey head should appear, it should start to reveal itself when the noodles are here, and when the noodles are not on the sphere, it should disappear. So there is several ways to do that. The first time, at the beginning, I tried with the Boolean, which is working nice, but it's a very heavy to process, and yeah, for Blender it's too much. There is another way that I will show you now. That is, yeah, more efficient. It required very less resources, and yeah, let's go for that. So to do so, first of all, I cannot make the transformation on the original geometry, because if I do so, the noodle geometry will start to get completely crazy looking for some geometry that does not exist or whatever. So first thing first, let's make this disappear, and I make a duplicate of it. So this will be the source one. We can call whatever we want, that's not a problem. On this sphere, let's go for a geometry node, a new one. Okay, so in here, how do we do to animate this? It's quite simple actually. What I will need in here is an object, because we need to give it the reference of the noodle. So let's go for object, Let's call that noodles, and let's put the noodles inside. Then I have the object. If I go here, I can look for object info, and then I can see it. And yeah, for sure, right now I don't have anything. We can see that they are in here, and they are not aligned because I use the original position and I want the relative position, and it's coming exactly at the same place. Okay, so that's great. What I'm going to do is to check for each point of the geometry the distance to any noodle point to see if I want to see it or if I want to make it disappear. To do so, there is again a note for that. If we go on the proximity, geometry proximity, that will give me the distance I'm looking for. The target will be the noodle geometry. And just one point, and the source position will be the position of the point I'm looking at. Okay, this is it. Let's remove this from here. Yeah, I have this geometry, so let's go back on the original geometry, and I will go to check for a node called delete geometry. If I put this one, for sure all the geometry will disappear as I'm deleting every single point, and that's not what I want. So for the selection, I will go on that distance, and I will need to fix a threshold. So I would say that if the distance is higher or greater, than a certain value, I have to delete it. And we can see in here it's all higher than 0, but if I go there, yeah, I don't have any point disappearing anymore. And if I go further in the animation, we can see that all the points will vanish. Would be better to put that one always procedural. I will add this as an attribute. Let's call that, I don't know, distance. So, here we go. That would be procedural. I can increase, reduce it. It's working fine. If I go back on the first frame, let's go back on the up, if you were, we can see that all the points are here, and if I go too low on the distance, they will start to vanish. So let's find a correct value where all the points are back, still there. Okay, this distance would be related to the amount of points you have on the geometry, how many lines you have on the noodle geometry, so it's no magic function to say, okay, this value would be nice. It has to be readjusted for any geometry we put. If we go there at the end, and in here had the same, did I give it a name here? No, I didn't give it a name. Let's say it's kind of magic. Let's call that magic, yeah. In here we go on this geometry. We had a geometry node, and the geometry node we are looking for, I call that magic. And in here we can see that we are on the last position, first position. In here I need to put the noodles, sorry, my bad. And okay, there's nothing there. If I got the last one, yeah, you see 0.4 is way too low. If I increase, let's go until I have all the geometries back. I think, oh no, so far. Okay, I think I have all of them. Yeah. And if I go back and play this animation again, I have the sphere. There it is, and I go up to up. The sphere disappear and the monkey head appear. Okay. This isn't that bad, except one thing I don't like is that in here, if we look at that, we can see all the square, all the pixel coming out, and okay, those two geometry are not very high details, they are very low poly. So one thing that can be done is before we use this geometry node, we can add the subdivision surface. We put that on the top. Maybe increase it. And yeah, in here would be up. Sorry. Much better. And let's duplicate that and put the same one at the end. And yeah, it will be nicer, I presume. You can even increase if we want to make it even better. And let's go on the sphere. Same in here. Let's go back on the first frame. In here I can add some subdivision surface on the top. And let's duplicate that and put that on the bottom, and we can see in here it's much nicer. Let's go in there, let's play that, and yeah, and the disappearance is more organic, and mainly you see it's the way I did it, and it's not that complicated, it's quite easy. It's clearly procedural, so I use for sure in here sphere and monkey head. I can put whatever you want, any model you have that you did or not, you can use. It's very easy to use. And I think that's it. So we can see also that in here for the shading we can easily use any material we want. Let's say that this one will be brown with a lot of subsurface. And let's go on the sphere. This one will be maybe, I don't know, completely metallic one. Let's really specular. If we go on the bottom, the beginning, here we have our metallic one. Maybe reduce the roughness, more like a mirror. And yeah, if we play, it's working, it's okay. Let's process on the time because let's put that on EV, and for sure on EV this will not work because I put this shader. Let's go for this one on the surface. Up and in here. Let's remove this. And maybe let's add some oranges. So reduce the value in here to something quite low, 0.1, and remove the subsurface. And yeah, if we go there, I think even in the real time we can play that, almost play it. It's coming up, all the noodles are coming, the sphere will just disappear, and then the monkey head will just appear. Well, that's it. That's the way I did it. Later on I will give you a few other geometry node to combination of the geometry node to make the different deformation, distortion of the lines. I think that would be just fine. And that's it. Okay, hope you enjoy that and learn maybe a few tips, a few tricks, and okay, bye.